Across the ancient waves of the Mediterranean, before the rise of Greece and Rome, there lived a people whose legacy was carved not in stone, but in the tides. The Phoenicians, masters of the sea, traders of distant horizons, and creators of the alphabet that shaped civilizations. From the island fortress of Tyre to the golden shores of Carthage, they commanded the waters, connecting worlds, cultures, and empires. Their ships carried not only goods, but ideas that would echo across time. This is the tale of the Phoenicians, the first great architects of the maritime world, whose spirit of exploration endures to this very day. The Phoenician Empire, nestled on the eastern shores of the Mediterranean, rose from the ancient city-states of Tyre and Sidon, two powerful maritime cities. These cities, built upon rocky coastal terrain, would grow to be the foundation of an empire that shaped the course of history through trade, exploration, and seafaring expertise. With their strategic position between the Mesopotamian and Egyptian civilizations, the Phoenicians became intermediaries, trading goods across vast distances. Their success was not just in their goods, but in their unparalleled ability to navigate the open seas, turning the Mediterranean into their domain. The Phoenicians were, above all, masters of the sea. They were not mere sailors, but builders of ships that could withstand the harshest of storms. Their vessels, known as triremes, were crafted for speed and durability, making them the most advanced ships of their time. The Phoenicians' shipbuilding techniques were so advanced that they would influence naval engineering for centuries to come. By mastering the sea, the Phoenicians were able to establish trade routes that connected far-flung regions, bringing luxury goods to the ancient world. Tyre, a legendary city-state, was the jewel of Phoenician civilization. Located on an island off the coast of modern-day Lebanon, Tyre's impressive fortifications and harbor made it a formidable naval power. It was from here that the Phoenicians would launch their sea voyages, spreading their influence across the Mediterranean. The city was a hub of commerce, with goods flowing in from every corner of the known world, from Egypt's gold to the tin of Britain. Sidon, the Phoenician city famous for its shipyards, was equally important in the rise of Phoenician power. It was here that the Phoenicians developed their exceptional shipbuilding techniques. Sidon's artisans were skilled in crafting sturdy yet agile ships, capable of enduring long voyages and transporting precious cargo across the Mediterranean. The city's importance as a maritime center contributed significantly to the Phoenician trade empire. Carthage, founded by Phoenician settlers from Tyre, would rise to become one of the most powerful cities in the ancient world. Carthage became a center of trade, culture, and military might, drawing from Phoenician expertise in naval warfare and commerce. Over time, Carthage would challenge even Rome for dominance over the Mediterranean, leading to the famous Punic Wars. The Phoenicians were not just seafarers. They were explorers and colonizers. Over centuries, they established colonies across the Mediterranean, from the shores of North Africa to the coasts of Sicily, Sardinia, and even modern-day Spain. These colonies served as trading outposts, spreading Phoenician culture and facilitating commerce. One of the most famous Phoenician colonies was Carthage, which would grow into a powerful rival to Rome. The Phoenicians amassed great wealth through their control of trade routes. They traded in precious metals, textiles, glass, and timber, bringing goods from far-flung lands to the Mediterranean world. Their purple dye, made from the murex shell, became highly sought after and was considered a symbol of royalty. Phoenician merchants were known for their savvy and their ability to broker deals across vast distances. One of the Phoenicians' most enduring contributions to history was their alphabet. Unlike the complex scripts of Egypt or Mesopotamia, the Phoenician alphabet was simple and efficient, consisting of 22 characters. This alphabet would later influence the Greek and Latin scripts, which in turn shaped most of the writing systems of the Western world. The Phoenician alphabet made it easier for people across the Mediterranean to communicate and conduct trade. The Phoenicians, through their colony Carthage, would soon find themselves locked in a deadly struggle with the rising power of Rome. The Punic Wars, fought between Carthage and Rome, were a series of brutal and defining conflicts that would determine who would dominate the Mediterranean. The wars were fought on both land and sea, with naval battles becoming particularly significant. Despite Carthage's initial successes, the Romans would eventually emerge victorious. Carthage's rise to power was closely tied to its military prowess. The city-state boasted a formidable navy, and its military campaigns were some of the most sophisticated of the ancient world. Carthaginian generals, most notably Hamilcar Barca and his son Hannibal, proved themselves to be brilliant tacticians. Hannibal's daring crossing of the Alps with his war elephants remains one of history's most remarkable military feats. Despite facing overwhelming odds, Hannibal's forces won several key victories, posing a real threat to Rome's dominance. One of the most famous moments in the Punic Wars was the Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE, where Hannibal achieved an astounding victory over the Romans. Outnumbered, he used brilliant tactics to surround and destroy a large portion of the Roman army. His strategy is still studied in military academies today. The defeat sent shockwaves through Rome, demonstrating the power and skill of the Phoenician Carthaginian military machine. The third and final Punic War, fought between Rome and Carthage, would be the end of the Phoenician Empire. Despite years of conflict, the Carthaginians never fully recovered from the earlier defeats. Rome, determined to end the threat for good, laid siege to the city of Carthage. The Roman army, led by Scipio Aemilianus, eventually breached the city walls. What followed was one of the most brutal sieges in history, resulting in the total destruction of Carthage. The city was burned to the ground, and its people were either killed or sold into slavery. After the fall of Carthage, Phoenician influence in the Mediterranean diminished dramatically. The rise of Rome, along with the collapse of Carthage, left the Phoenician city-states vulnerable. Tyre and Sidon, once proud and powerful, were now just shadows of their former selves, falling under Roman control. The trade routes that the Phoenicians had so expertly navigated now came under Roman dominance, and the once thriving Phoenician economy faded into history. Despite their military decline, the Phoenicians left a lasting legacy in art, culture, and architecture. The cities of Tyre, Sidon, and Carthage were known for their magnificent buildings, intricate pottery, and impressive sculptures. The Phoenicians also made significant contributions to religious practices, with their pantheon of gods influencing later civilizations, including the Romans. Their artistic techniques, particularly in the creation of glass, would influence cultures for centuries. The influence of the Phoenicians extended far beyond their own borders. They helped spread the use of their alphabet throughout the Mediterranean, which was later adopted by the Greeks and Romans. Their trade networks connected diverse cultures, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and technologies. The Phoenicians were pioneers in establishing global trade routes, which laid the groundwork for later maritime empires. Though the Phoenician Empire eventually faded from power, its legacy endures in the language, art, and culture that it left behind. The Phoenicians were the original masters of the Mediterranean, setting the stage for future empires that would come to dominate the region. Their influence on trade, navigation, and even religion would echo through the centuries, shaping the Mediterranean world for generations. The Phoenicians were the world's first great seafaring people. Their advanced techniques in navigation allowed them to sail across the Mediterranean, establishing colonies as far west as present-day Tunisia and Spain. Their development of the astrolabe and other maritime instruments helped revolutionize navigation, and their influence would be felt long after their empire had fallen. Though their empire no longer exists, the spirit of Phoenician seafaring lives on in modern maritime nations. Their legacy is seen in the exploration of new territories and the continued importance of naval power. The Phoenician pursuit of the sea is mirrored in the voyages of later explorers, who set sail in search of new lands, driven by the same spirit of discovery. The Phoenician trade networks were the backbone of their empire and one of the primary reasons for their success. They navigated vast distances, linking civilizations from Egypt to Greece, from Italy to the coasts of North Africa. Their ships carried goods such as timber, glass, dyes, and purple textiles to far-flung regions, creating a rich cultural exchange along the way. As the masters of Mediterranean trade, the Phoenicians helped set the stage for the commercial empires that would follow, including the Roman Empire. Their influence was not just economic, but also cultural, as they shared their arts, technologies, and even religious practices across the Mediterranean. Though their empire is no more, the Phoenicians' contributions to world history remain. The seeds of Phoenician culture, seafaring skills, and innovations continue to grow in the modern world. The alphabet they created has evolved into the foundation of many of today's writing systems. The art of navigation, passed down through generations, continues to inspire explorers. The Phoenician spirit of exploration and discovery lives on in modern maritime exploration, and their legacy endures in every ship that sets sail today, charting new waters as their ancestors did centuries ago.